Everything is bad and the world is ending, and you shouldn't have kids, says Party of Progress. Stop watching pornos. Porn is the biggest weapon right now against the world. If there was someone doing heroin or watching porn, I would literally say that heroin is a more manageable addiction. When people watch pornography, their their sperm count drops 50%. They become depressed. They think the world is ending. A lot of this programming, this deep, dark, way, way, way in the future programming, like right now it's incest porn, is mainstream. It enters you. It makes you incapable of having a family. It makes your wife angry at you all the time because you're a worse father, a worse husband. You don't, it's just disgusting. If I could give anybody any advice, porn is psychological warfare. Why do you think it's free? Why do you think it's free? It's right out of the opium wars. None of this is new. We're going to talk in a little bit about whether or not evil is gaining or weakening right now. If it's new, if it's old, all that stuff. They want to live in the despair world. It's a physical response to pornography. I'm starting to really get to the bottom of this problem because the despair level is so insane. People's despair is so not justified. They're scared about things that are so low odds. If you live in LA, you should be scared. You should leave. But most people, their despair is because of their own inaction and their own the chemicals in their brain that have been distorted from watching pornography. Makes me frustrated and irritable. It makes everybody, dude, think about when you're watching pornography and you're doing your business. As soon as you're done, what's that emotion you feel? You go, and then you just X everything out. What am I watching? It's a spell. Is the Black Plague stealing bikes? No, those are black people. The devil convinces people to hate life and live in fear. Yeah, the devil makes you do it. The devil makes you choose hell. That's how you lose this whole test called life. Is you have to be the one that says, I'm going to choose to kill my kid. I'm going to choose to live in fear. I'm going to choose all this stuff. They want you to live in the physical hell where the world is burning up and we will underwater. Yeah, it's insane. And then, by the way, this is something that happens with age. As you realize none of it ever happens and people don't adapt. When I was a kid, it was global cooling. It was acid rain. It was the end of oil. We're about to hit the peak oil. It was Y2K, bird flu. Every scare tactic they had, nothing happened. We're going to be nuked by Russia. We had to hide under our desks. We're all going to get AIDS. And so that's when there's a fork in the road. And that's why this is called What Side Are You On? There's people that don't adapt at all. They just start going, how do I stop watching porn? Replace it with something else. Replace it with something else. They just go, okay, well, now the world's burning. 5G networks are going to fry our jizz. Want to know what's frying your jizz? Porn. Watching pornos. That lowers your sperm count drastically. It lowers your testosterone rate. It psychologically reprograms your brain into thinking that you're a voyeur, you're a cuck, you're a peeping Tom. You're watching other men have sex with women that you're coveting. It's a psychological weapon that is tough to eat. Ozone layer, swine flu, mad cow, all of it. And so instead of people just no longer trusting the fear tactics of the evil ones, they double down. They're like, well, now it's, and you're like, you are gone mentally. But see, that's when the devil gets you. At first, it's just watching the in and out. You just want to see penetration. You want to see, just beautiful women. You want to see just flesh and sex. And then 5 years later, you're Alex Jones watching trannies getting beaten. Because Satan has you, owns you. You should only be turned on by your wife's body. If you're watching other women and jerking off like a little peep show, like you got your little window. There's a little window to someone else's world. Oh, can I jerk off? Can I jerk off? And we're supposed to expect those people to be our warriors to protect our homeland. Does pair bonding exist? Yes. Look at my life. And use that jizz strength that you're draining for to work. It's not even about sex. It's about work. People think I'm some superhuman. You know, Joe Rogan accused me of being on meth because of how much I accomplish. I can stream 2-3 hours a day. I can build raised bed gardens, raise children, have goats, alpacas, do high level writing of comedy, organize a tour. Yeah, and people are like, how do you do it? Because I'm not draining my battery like a little demon looking through a window. Like you fucking perverts. The Israeli military took over the Palestinian TV stations in 2002 and broadcasted pornography. Exactly. That's how you really know it's a weapon, and it's very effective. They did that in Eastern Europe too. I remember even when I was living in Eastern Europe, like 20 years ago, they would have weather reports where the people would come out naked and put the clothes on depending on what they should wear. It's a very highly sexualized area. And the communists, the Bolsheviks, did that and put that on people to cuck them. Because they want the men to lust after women that aren't their wives because it cucks the man. It makes the woman resent the man and it destroys the family unit. Porn is the ultimate weapon. And people treat it like it's absolutely nothing. I've whacked off to porn thousands of times. So, and the only reason I'm telling you that is because you have to understand that it's possible to rewire your brain. It takes time though. The longer you've watched, the harder it is. So stop now. Fighting a blind person is easy. Exactly. Porn makes you go blind. It cucks the man. It makes the man a beta male, which is different than Bravo. A beta is a cuck. Me, Mr. Mustache. Oh, it makes him gammas. Want to know? It's the most comparable to Opium Wars. The British grabblers pumped China full of free opium to get them addicted and weak. I get it. It's not a moral thing. I mean, it is a moral thing. But I'm not morally condemning you because you're just hurting yourself. You're not a predator. You're not inflicting it on others, but you are part of our community and our nation and our world. So every single man that cucks hurts every other man. Even like Israeli nationalists, Muslim nationalists, Indian Sikhs, Japanese, nationalists, not imperialists. Imperialism, there's none of that. I want all those men strong, and I want them all to protect their homes and their national boundaries and their ways of life. Because it helps our way of life. Because cucked men can be puppeted by Satan and the empires. I want nations to thrive, and that requires men. It hurts the women too. It destroys the family. And I know women read their porno books and their 50 Shades of Grey and all that stuff. Call me sexist all you want, but I believe women are men's responsibility. And that it's more the men's fault than it is the woman's fault. Because women aren't supposed to lead themselves. Women need to be led. So when women start watching pornos and reading their pornos and spending all their husband's money on dumb shit and, grabbling and babbling on Facebook and slander, that's the man. I see a breakdown of the man. Not this woman, LOL. I want more men like you. All women do. Women resort to porn, whether it's books or video porn. They become promiscuous. They display male attributes. They cut their hair off and start fucking buying Subarus. That's because they don't have masculinity in their life. Amy's gotten more feminine from being with me. More. It's like, because women act more masculine when they don't have a strong male around them. It's a fact. So when men are blaming women, that's like blaming your child. I'm not comparing women to children, but it's a similar metaphor. Yes, I am. It's like complaining about your 3-year-old for acting up and saying saying fuck at a birthday party and being like, oh, he's so bad. He's so bad. It's like, yeah, he's got bad male role models. He's got a bad mom then. If your kid's running around saying fuck at a birthday party, that's bad parenting. When I see a woman with butch hair driving a Subaru with abortion bumper stickers and like fucking a bunch of strangers, I see a failed man. Because the woman is the man's responsibility. He's to protect and serve the woman, and he's supposed to serve God. And then the woman becomes very, very when she feels safe and when she feels lusted after and protected by the man, a man that doesn't watch pornos, she can then blossom into a woman, and then she can be a great mother. They're much more impressionable. Yeah, that's why all wizardry is aimed at women over men. You know, all these social movements are aimed at women because women are more impressionable. They're more elastic. They're more designed where if a conquering army comes in, the women are like, oh, I guess we're Muslim now, because that's the only way they survived. Okay, so what side are you on? There's a side, do you speak truth, do you think truth, or are you trying to manipulate people? Those are the only signs. You got degenerates and you got believers. That's one reason why I've seen camaraderie in some Muslims. Because if you look at the divide that's growing here, it's truly just disgusting degeneracy, like walking human shit, zombies, or believers in God, believers in truth, believers in beauty, you know, people who advocate life, people who advocate humanity, form, effort. If you want to just rate people on satanic level, the flat earth people and the Orthodox Church, those are the two groups that have been so open to me performing with them. The Orthodox Church in Vancouver had me. Much love to those guys. The Greek Orthodox Church gets it. They haven't cucked. I mean, dude, there's like Baptist church and shit that would call me a bigot, racist, homophobe. And then the flat earthers. And some Muslims. I bet I could perform at a mosque before I could perform at some churches because there's no rainbow flag out front of a mosque. You got to start thinking where is God and where isn't God. And the divide is degenerates, literally butt fucking child molesting, greedy little thieves who everything they say is a lie, and then people who believe in truth. That's the divide. And then from there, try and figure out the mysteries of the world. Try and figure out, what denomination of Christian you want to be, what your family wants to be, but you got to see that the Muslims banned porn. They don't have homosexual marriage. They protect their children and their women. Yeah, they're fucking insane. A lot of them are fucking insane. And they've had this weird civil war forever. And, it's like when Muhammad, peace be upon him, first said that he thought a demon was talking to him, that freaks me out. There's a lot of shit. But in general, just look at who's complying to degeneracy and who isn't. Who's the despair merchant? Who is saying everything is, I'm so unpumped to see you in Portland. Oh, that's pretty funny, Ed. Who is your master, exactly? And I've taken a lot of shit from not hating Muslims. A lot. There's been some serious backlash. And I don't care at all. I find it funny. Because you can time travel. When you have a good base, a good logical and moral base, you already know what's going to happen in the future. Dave Chappelle is a Muslim. I think this always your opinion. Yeah, but Chappelle's not a practicing Muslim. He's promoting pedophilia. Be cool to get you on the Freeman perspective. I don't know what that means. Okay, the best case scenario is you want strong male nationalist type Muslims in their area. Like you want a Syria that's strong and prays. You don't want it to become a degenerate, indebted state, and you want to stay there. You wouldn't have the migrant crisis in Europe if the people weren't broken, because the devil couldn't sell it. And when I'm saying this stuff about Muslims, I'm not justifying their rape gangs. I don't even think they should be flooding Europe at all. I think it's a nightmare. But you have to just see the whole thing for what it is. It's not just 19 guys hate our freedom and went to Staples and got box cutters. It's not just these guys in the sand, milking donkeys or milking goats just out of nowhere. It's like, I want to go to Rotham, England. It's the only people in England protecting the kids are fucking Muslims, guys. Like these secular materialist, degenerate, butt-fucking, indebted, just cucked, porn-watching, wanking men. These men. They're teaching sodomy and masturbation to their 6-year-olds in public schools, and the only people to protest effectively were Pakistanis. And you're trying to tell me that Islam promotes pedophilia? Your way of life promotes pedophilia. Mommy reading 50 Shades and daddy jerking off in the basement to fucking Brazzers, that's pedophilia. Protecting them by marrying them? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, they marry women young there. Girls sometimes. It's gross. There's some Muslim communities that are fucking disgusting. You know, like they'll marry off a 13-year-old to a dude. I get it. There's a lot of like ancient sand-like behavior that's disgusting. Overall, I'm completely accurate. And you can fight me all day long. It doesn't matter. It's just like they don't promote pedophilia. They stand up for the protection of children in public schools more than Anglicans. Dude, you and I are the infidel? Yes. Yes. And according to strict Islam, you're not allowed to just kill the infidel in their own land. They have to be invading. They fuck up a lot. I'm not Muslim. I'm not looking forward to these Muslim and name only fucking sheiks and fucking oil tycoons to take over where I live because they're not practicing anything that resembles God. You know, a lot of people that say they're Muslim, there's these billionaire oil freaks, they pay to like shit on women. That's not the Quran. It's the same thing with Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder says he's Christian, and all he does is pay to like fuck dudes and stuff. He who without sin, exactly. I see this shit all day in the chat. It's like, but they are from Satan. No. When was the last time you jerked off to a runaway girl getting paid drug money by Jews, and you're pleasuring your own dick by it? You are disgusting. Disgusting. I'd walk through a room full of grabbers to meet a true Muslim. Good for you. You're breaking the programming. Thank you, Logie Bear. If you follow actual Christianity, the Muslim is an infidel to your faith. It's okay. So are Catholics have idolatry. Mormons have an extra profit. It's like, who the fuck are you to do this shit? Your lifestyle is so disgusting that on the chasm between believers and degenerates, you're more on the degenerate side. If you are just like, Islam is Satan. Meanwhile, 20 minutes later, it's like you're out of your minds. It's just like you're talking. I feel sometimes I'm talking to a sick dog. And yet I hear the barking. Bark, bark, bark. And women in my culture love to rule the home. Crowder hurts his back a lot, always blames on working out. Oh, it's not from working out. All right. You pray for them. You don't hate them. Exactly, Bunny Bear. Exactly. You don't hate Muslims. And you got to think like, how big is the difference? You know, Muslims believe Jesus is the same. They call him the Messiah. They say peace be upon him. The Jew thinks Jesus is a heretic who's burning in hell for eternity, who was executed rightly by the Romans for leading a rebellion against Rome. In reality, the grabbers were trying to get Jesus to lead a rebellion against Rome so they could expand their banking empires. This is historically accurate. And Jesus said, no, give Caesar Caesar's. Brilliant. Beautiful. I followed that to the letter in my life. And it's like the Muslims just say that he didn't die. He was never crucified. And then they added a prophet, which is forbidden in the Christian Bible. They say that until Jesus returns, this is it. And the Muzzies are like, no, we got another guy. Everyone's like, another guy? Okay, when you put that on a scale of jerking off to runaways that are fucking Jews for drug money in your basement, which you are, as you're in debt for your fancy items. Whether or not they listen to another man 700 years after the crucifixion of Christ is nothing. And fuck you for being such a judgmental little asshole. Because until you start practicing actual Christianity, I don't think you have much to stand on. Like that's how they caught the grabbers for 9/11. It's because Larry Silverstein couldn't help himself. He couldn't help himself but take out terrorist insurance specifying planes the year of 9/11. Larry Silverstein is the guy, Lucky Larry, who forgot to go to work on 9/11, and both his kids forgot to go to work on 9/11. Two slept in and one had a dentist appointment. He couldn't help himself but to Jewish lightning the trade centers. This is historic fact. Larry Silverstein, the private owner of the World Trade Center, took out an insurance policy for plane for terrorist acts of terrorism, including a plane the year it happened. It's how you know it was a grabber operation. It's red-handed. I think it's bigger than all of it. I think that, the grabbers are being hired by someone else because they're just so weak to money. It's like they can't say no to money. Jewish lightning strike twice for Lucky Larry. Exactly. And he collected $1 billion. Lucky Larry got 9/11 ruled 2 acts of double insurance payoff. Exactly. He couldn't help himself. And because of Lucky Larry, he couldn't help but get $1 billion in insurance money. Grabber lightning. Wasn't it the day before 9/11? I know it was the same year. It might have been the day before. He claimed 2 separate events. Yeah. They leave a paper trail. That's some transcendent grabbing. Oh, they can't help themselves. There's no Vatican Lucifer telescope. We'll take a look here. Vatican Lucifer telescope. I know there is. It's an acronym, but all right. Lucifer instrument helps astronomers see through darkness. Do we trust Rational Wiki? Oh, well, we'll start. Someone said, oh, dude, it's true when there's an article that says, relax. The Vatican didn't name a telescope Lucifer. Okay, this is from Catholic.com, so this will be the most biased towards Catholics. Let's start with this. The Vatican did not name the telescope Lucifer. The Vatican Observatory shares space, no pun intended, God, whoever wrote this is such a fucking asshole, with other organizations and groups. The Vatican Observatory does not own each piece of equipment, nor can it give official names or nicknames to things it does not own. Another group installed a telescope and nicknamed it Lucifer. It's just a nickname. It's a telescope built by Max Planck Institute for Interterrestrial... Do you pay them to use Lucifer? Relax. All right, let's get the action. That's the most biased. So yes, there is a telescope that All right. So let's go to Wikipedia. The large, all right, is an optical telescope for astronomy located Mount Graham, Arizona. Currently, fuck is it? One second, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I like reading the ones that are completely against what I'm saying just to see if it's full of shit. Like many conspiracy theories, Lucifer telescope conspiracy theory involves the usual antagonists. Catholics, the Vatican, and the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. According to wingnut, Bible-thumping, dingbat conspiracy... I'm not making this up. Dingbat conspiracy theorists, the dingbat. Was this written by a baby boomer? Check. The Vatican is in possession of a telescope which is named Lucifer, which they have used to find extraterrestrials. Furthermore, Catholics, the Vatican, and the Jesuits are keeping the discovery of ET secret. All I want to know is, do you own the fucking telescope? The conspiracy theory is propagated by some bullshit. And Chuck Missler of the... just, do you own it or not? The Jim Baker Show has promoted the conspiracy on a few occasions. Most such... Of course they do. This is such a smoking gun. All right. The conspiracy theory claims... Yeah, you've already said conspiracy theory now 20 times. We get it. You're trying to distract. You're using programming to keep people from knowing something. That several multinational organizations and the Catholic Church have teamed up together to make contact with extraterrestrials. Do you own a fucking telescope named Lucifer? The Lucifer telescope is used to locate, track, or make contact with ETs. This is such... See, this is how you discredit someone. Someone says something like, the grabblers are in charge of banking, and banking is really bad. And then they say, Owen Benjamin claims the grabblers are in charge of banking. Banking is bad, and we should kill them. It's like, no, I don't. And then it's like, so you deny that you think that grabblers are in charge of banking? I'm like, no, grabblers are in charge of banking, and banking is bad. And that we should kill them, he says. I never said that. So you didn't say that about banking? Guys, it's like first grade bullshit. Of course they own a fucking telescope named Lucifer. The Lucifer telescope conspiracy was originated by two conniving but enterprising cretins. If this doesn't just, if I was a Catholic right now, I'd be like, this is embarrassing, guys. Why did we buy this fucking instrument? All right, what is the purpose of the Vatican Lucifer telescope? Lucifer is helping Vatican astronomers. Okay, here we go. Want to be a member? All right. Although it shares the same name as Christianity's fallen angel and the personification of evil, Lucifer is an instrument attached to the telescope. As Popular Science explains, Lucifer is an acronym for the instrument's lengthy title, Large Binocular Telescope Near Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research. The instrument is attached to the University of Arizona's Large Binocular Telescope, located at Mount Graham in eastern southern Arizona. The Vatican-owned Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, VAT, is right next door. According to something, authors of VAT and the Lucifer instrument to watch for alien savior Tom Horn. I don't fucking care. All right. Just look it up. I don't care. I think this reeks of what Matt from Quantum of Conscience calls a pissed-on breadcrumb. It's like the Vatican probably didn't buy it. The Vatican probably owns the land under it and is renting it. And then that way you have an endless fight where everybody says, all the Catholics say, it's a conspiracy theory from a bunch of wingnuts. And then researchers say, so you don't rent the Lucifer telescope that's owned by Vatican land? They go, and then so two groups of people can both be completely right and just fight endlessly. It's fucking weird that they have anything to do with the telescope named Lucifer. Vatican leadership said they would baptize an alien, that they are our brothers. They own that telescope. They sued the natives to get it built there. Yes, want to know what else the Catholics say? That there is no hell. The Pope said this, that when some people die, they just go into infinite, they just go into the darkness. It's just a void. Completely against Bible doctrine, all of it. Bible. The Pope just says that, and he wears red shoes, and people are just like, great. And then those same people say that all Muslims are going to hell, even though they're part of a church where the leader of the church says that there isn't really a hell. That people like, quote unquote, Tony Soprano just disappear into a void. That's what he said. He said that on a plane. And so then a bunch of people say, oh, well, we don't want the Pope to talk on planes anymore. It was this whole scandal. The abyss, exactly. The abyss. He said the abyss. By the way, purgatory isn't in the Bible. The Catholics added that. And I'm not anti-Catholic. But Catholics need to fucking relax when they're pointing the finger at everyone else when their red shoe wearing Pope has a telescope named Lucifer and he talks about people drifting into an abyss. And he's also pro-open borders. He's anti-gun ownership. And he calls aliens our brothers. Yeah, the Vatican is very far from God and Christianity. Fact. And so when I say, well, this Muslim family seems to be more in line with my Christian beliefs than the fucking people that make you call them father. I'm pretty sure in the Bible it says, call no other man father. Call no man father but the Father. We will never know God's mind. Never. Never. And have some fucking humility, you know? And when these people talk about the Muzzies like that, it's like, I'm so anti-pedophile. I don't think you guys understand. Because I don't talk about it all the time, and I'm not one of these people that's just like, look at this sick person doing something sick. Look. I've already done that. Now we move on and we build. I'm so anti-pedophile and anti-child abuse that one act of those Pakistani families in England standing up for children being exposed to sodomy in public schools, that spoke to me on a very deep level. That whoever protects the kids will always have an extra step in my heart, no matter who the fuck you are. That's why Joe Rogan had a step in my heart for way too long. Because he had me on to talk about the trans kid child when everyone else was slandering me and closing all the doors. He had me on to defend children. Because of that, for over a year, I had a deep love for Joe Rogan that I shouldn't have had. Because I'm that motivated by people who stand up for the defense of children. What do you think about predestination, BB? I believe completely in free will because God gave us free will to prove our love for him. But I also think everything past and future has already happened. Sometimes in my life, I think that time doesn't exist and that everything's already happened. So I don't really know because those two things kind of contradict each other and I don't like contradictions. Like sometimes I feel like everything from the past and the future has already happened and we're just kind of living it. But I do believe completely in free will, and I think it's very important that God gave us free will. Revelation comes from within first. Interesting, Robert. I just don't quite understand it, and I'm just being honest. That's Calvinism just saying. Yeah, Calvinism has some fundamental contradictions to me, even though they're very, very good people. But I think anytime, I see that is a fundamental difference to me. But again, I can respect Calvinists. I think a lot of them are fighting against the degeneracy, against the void. But if you don't believe human beings have an ability to choose, you can't assign punishment. You know, you treat humans like animals. Like I don't punish the goat for running at for eating my tree. It's what goats do. If we could not understand God fully, then he wouldn't be God. If we could understand fully, exactly. God is outside of time. Yes, he is. Absolutely. A goat looking into my house is how I feel looking into the mind of God, where I can see moments of it. I can see little things that I understand, but it's as if the goat is supposed to understand all the papers on my table where I'm paying taxes. You know, where the goat understands tax write-offs. That's how far away we are from understanding the true nature of God. What are atheists and lesbians even mad at anymore? Their dads, their failed fathers. Atheism is a direct result of a failed father. If you look at all the atheists, the main atheists, they all had horrible fathers. You know, like the Grabbler, Sam Harris, all those guys, they all had cucked, disgusting little fathers, or they were gone. They had no fathers or failed fathers. Jesus claimed to be the I am. Right. Yes. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I think he rejoined God when he was crucified. I don't understand. I don't. Through him we are saved. I understand that. I don't understand how you separate from God into flesh and then rejoin God. I don't understand it, and I'm not supposed to understand it. And that's fine. I have a lot more apprehension for people who claim that they understand all of it. I'm pretty sure God made everything, including bad. Thanks. Why would you say thanks at the end? Women are so fucking retarded sometimes. Can atheists be as moral as religious people? No. No. Impossible. If you believe you weren't created by a creator and this is all random, fundamentally, you can't be moral. I mean, you can if you were raised by moral people and you just don't know where it comes from. But you don't, your fundamental base, when you start building a house, your structure of the house is wrong. If you think we are just the product of billions of years of atoms and genitals smashing into each other in random chance, you aren't moral because there's no reason to be moral. And some say, well, you want the benefit of the people. No, it's to benefit you. The thing that would benefit me the most in the world right now and my family would be to slit the throats of everyone around me and take all their gold. How do people not see that? A weasel is doing what a weasel does. Morality has to come from the Creator. It has to. There is no way. I watched Stephen Molyneux, a brilliant man, a moral man, a man who's a good father, wrestle constantly with trying to create a way to have morality without God, and it's impossible. The non-aggression principle couldn't protect a child from sex trafficking. Any more ideas? Owen BB. Dude, BB, you are so wrong, and you're so banned. What don't you understand about that rule? It's a way to get rid of people that are just gaslighting. They say, you're wrong. You're wrong. What they're trying to do is make dumb people just go, oh, he might be wrong. You didn't make a point. And then the way that this all works is then when I ban someone, they go, oh, he can't handle criticism. Saying someone's wrong is not criticism. Criticism is saying, you are wrong because ... Have you thought about this? Your argument is flawed because of this. Saying you are wrong, you are stupid, you are crazy. That is called ad hominem attacks. That isn't criticism. That's banned from every single rhetorical or dialectic discussion in the history of logical thought. So when someone says, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're crazy, that isn't criticism. You had a bad father. You weren't taught how to interact with men. It's not my job to teach you when you have no ability to interact in the community. If you sit and listen, you're welcome here. If not, you're gone. Still wonder how many world-changing geniuses and leaders have been aborted. It doesn't matter. Because, I don't follow the great man view of history that someone's just born and because of that person the world changes, with the exception of Jesus Christ. I follow a much different worldview, that it's that people are chosen by history. That when people say, would you have aborted Hitler? Would you kill Hitler or time travel? There would have been a different Hitler. That time had that man. The time was looking for that man. You know? And it does. It's like, what? And the more people think they can change that with violence, by killing a man kills an idea, it's the exact opposite. It'll propagate the idea. Don't you find it odd we don't know what Jesus did until he was 30? Not at all. I find it, I'm full of deep gratitude that I know anything at all about Jesus. I'm full of a lot of gratitude that for 2,000 years, men risked their life and many of them were killed, hiding and passing on information about Jesus Christ to the modern man. I think it's nothing short of a miracle that we know about Jesus Christ. If you require more information about Jesus Christ, I suggest you stop watching pornography and jerking your little dicks off in your basement. All right, let's look at some more stuff. After the first live fire event in a war zone, every soldier atheist stopped by for a blessing before a patrol. Exactly. They're all a bunch of fucking liars. Atheists are liars. The worst part about them is they're atheists. I mean, they're liars. They're not even, they're just they're fucking liars, man, because they don't even believe what they're saying. They're just trying to subvert good because they hate their daddies. Proverbs said, a fool says in his heart there is no God. Exactly. A fool, a dumb man, a liar. It's not even close to true. It's not like you have to find some faith. It's logically impossible that you weren't created. Darwinism has been disproven in the last couple of years. Even mainstream science thinks it's a pile of shit. The Human Genome Project has disproven it. Darwin was a monster. He was an idiot. He was an incest victim. His family was one of the richest grabbly families. They weren't Jews, but they were grabblers from England. He was a monster. He used the Anglican book of prayer or book of something to help categorize species. He was a piece of human shit. He's on the level of Karl Marx level of shit. 100% of mothers and fathers' fault. Yeah, but it's not their fault anymore. Now you're grown now. Now it's on you. This is great. See, this is something to uplift your spirits. Okay, so Dave Smith had a lot of nice things to say about me and Chappelle and Nick DiPaolo, he gave credit where credit's due, right? So Kyneton thanked him. Much love to Dave Smith. Everything he says from minute 20 to 25 are spot on. Nick DiPaolo is indeed one of the greats. And then DiPaolo says, thanks, Owen. Means a lot coming from someone who's been fighting the good fight for so long. Thank you, Dave Smith. Flattering to hear from such a respected comic. Okay, this is the type of shit that drives the evil people insane. They're like, no, they're not supposed to be friends. That's why they're always trying to divide everybody. This is terrifying to the people, the evil people, because it's just men being like, giving each other props that is not coming from the beast. That's an incredible moment when you got men that have survived, and Dave Smith's Jewish. He's not a grappler. He's a unicorn. So it's like you have a man, Dave Smith, a man, Nick DiPaolo, and a man, me. And we're all like giving each other props as strong males. That's beautiful. And that's a nightmare for the grapplers. Because, I mean, in Stalinist Russia, they made it illegal to meet with, like, 3 people or more were not allowed to meet. They weren't allowed to talk. You couldn't have 3 people in a circle talking. Because that ends the shit. Unity? What's next? Genocide? Comedians telling jokes? What's next? Genocide?